Hi everyone, this is Sanjay. Today we are going to study the third chapter from standard 6. Our third chapter is Taro's reward. So before we start, let's see. This is a story about a thoughtful and loving son. He works hard to fulfill his parents' wishes and gets some unexpected help. So when we go forward this story, you can understand better. So let's start. Taro's reward. A young woodcutter named Taro lived with his mother and father on a lonely hillside. All day long he chopped wood in the forest. It means that a young woodcutter was there. His name was Taro, and he was living with his mother and father in a lonely hillside. All day long he chopped wood in the forest. Chopped means cutting the trees. Though he worked very hard, he was working very hard, he earned very little money. He was working hard, but he was getting a little money. This made him sad. It means the earning little money made him sad. For he was a thoughtful son and wanted to give his old parents everything they needed. Means what was the needs, wishes of the parents, the Taro wanted to fulfill them. One evening, then when Taro and his parents were sitting in a corner of their hut, a strong wind began to blow. Means when they were sitting on in the corner of their hut, a strong wind began to blow. It whistled through the cracks of the hut and everyone felt very cold. Suddenly Taro's father said, "I wish I had a cup of sake. It would warm me and do my old heart good." It means that the Taro's father wished to have a cup of sake, and that can make him warm and do his old heart good. This made Taro sadder than ever. It made him sad, for the heart-warming drink called sake was very expensive, means costly. How do I earn more money? How can I earn more money? He asked himself. How do I get a little sake for my poor old father? He decided to work harder than ever, harder than before. It means that the time he was working, just he wanted to work more and more because he wanted to buy sake. Next morning, Taro jumped out of the bed earlier than usual and made his way to the forest. Means from the usual time, he just woke up early and went to the forest to cut the trees. He chopped and cut as the sun climbed, and soon he was so warm that he had to take off his jacket. Means it was so warm that he has to take off his jacket. His mouth was dry and his face was wet with sweat. My poor old father, he thought, if only he was as warm as I. And with that began to chop even faster, thinking of extra money he must earn to buy sake to warm the old man's bones. To warm old man's bone, he was just thinking extra money, and he was just chopping faster and faster. Then suddenly Taro stopped chopping. What was that sound he heard? Could it be? Could it possibly be rushing water? Taro could not remember ever seeing or hearing a rushing stream. That part of the forest meant it was strange because that in that area there was no sound like this. That's why he was strange. He was thirsty, and the axe dropped out of his hands, and he ran in the direction of the sound. Taro saw a beautiful little waterfall hidden behind a rock. Kneeling at a place where water flowed quietly, he chopped a little in his hands and put it in his lips. Was it water? Or was it sake? He started it again and again, and always it was the delicious sake instead of cold water. Means when he was tasting the water, it was not a simple water, but it was a sake. Taro quickly filled the pitcher he had with him and hurried home. Means what the pitcher he had, just he filled it. The old man was delighted with the sake. After only one swallow of the liquid, he stopped shivering and did a little dance in the middle of the floor. That afternoon, a neighbor stopped by for a visit. Taro's father politely offered her a cup of sake. The lady drank it greedily, means lady drank it greedily, and thanked the old man. Then Taro told her the story of magic waterfall, thanking them for the delicious drink. She left in a hurry. By nightfall, she had spread the story throughout the whole village. That lady who drank in the old man's house, he spread this news. He spread this news all over the villages. That evening, there was a long procession of visitors to the woodcutter's house. Each man heard the story of waterfall and took a sip of the sake. In less than an hour, the pitcher was empty. Next morning, Taro started for work even earlier than the morning before. He carried with him the largest pitcher. He owned largest pitcher because he wanted to fill all the sake in that pitcher. For he intended first of all to go to the waterfall. When he reached it, he found to his great surprise all his neighbors there. They were carrying pitchers, jars, buckets, anything they could find to hold the magic sack. Then one villager knelt and held his mouth under the waterfall to drink. He drank again and again and then shouted angrily, "Water! Nothing but water!" He was angry. Others also tried, but there was no sack, only cold water. "We have been tricked," shouted the villagers. "Where is Taro?" "It means that we are deceived, we are cheated." "Where is Taro? Let's find. Let us drown him in this waterfall. Let us drown him." But Taro had been wise enough to sleep behind a rock. When he saw how things were going, he was nowhere to be found. Muttering their anger and disappointment, the villagers left the place one by one. Taro came out from his hiding place, wondered, was the sack a dream? Once more he caught a little liquid in his hand and put it in his lips. It was the same fine sack. To the thoughtful son, the magic waterfall gave the delicious sack. To everyone else, it gave only cold water. It means that all the people were getting only cold water, but the Taro was getting only sack. The story of Taro and his magic waterfall reached the Emperor of Japan. It means this story was heard by the Emperor of Japan. He sent for young woodcutter and rewarded him with 20 pieces of gold for having been so good and kind. Then he named the most beautiful fountain in the city after Taro. This, said the emperor, was to encourage all the children to honor and obey their parents. So I request all of the students who are watching me right now, just try to obey your elders and parents because it is necessary. So I hope that you understood. If you haven't understood yet, then you can write in your comments about your doubts. So thank you for watching this video and share among your friends, and subscribe my channel for more updates. Thank you very much.